Hello, welcome to Once Upon a Surgery, the show where we have raw, unfiltered, and sometimes unbelievable journeys through plastic surgery. I'm the host, Kerry Berlet, wife of world-renowned plastic surgeon, Dr. Anthony Berlet. Today, I have my guest, Gina, who I'm really interested in speaking with. Gina was so sweet and brought me a new teacup that actually perfectly matches my outfit today, so... Cheers! All right, so now take me back. I know you have quite a story. So, tell me about what first made you, I know that you had a breast reduction.
Yes.
And so at what point in your life did you become unhappy with your breasts? Were you always unhappy, or was it like with age, or what happened?
Okay. Well, I had a lot of trauma. Growing up, I was sexually abused and stalked by the same individual. And,
oh, no.
I was not happy with certain things of my body. And I knew from a young age, because I would tell my mother, I want plastic surgery. And of course, she's like, plastic surgery. But then, now I'm here. Here I am, 62. And I made the decision, which I've always knew, that I wanted a breast reduction and lift.
Okay. And so do you think that trauma, did it make you just, unhappy with your body? Where did the plastic surgery, were you wanting to kind of remove the trauma?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
And plus, to make myself feel better, not to make anybody else feel better, but me.
Okay. And so, and growing up, you were a very busty person? Is that how it
yes.
was? Okay.
Yes.
All right. And then, was at one point, did they look nice, and then with age, or was it just that they just immediately were?
Well, I found that, my weight would go up and down. It came from medication, not food.
Okay.
And, then I took that Depo-Provera shot, which packed on so much weight.
Okay.
And then, my body changed, and I had I had weight loss surgery too, because the doctor said, we want to reset your metabolism. And I did go to the head of St. Barnabas, and he said, your metabolism shut down from that injection.
Really?
When will it come back? I can't give you an answer.
But I mean, you look so you lost weight then. I was like, yeah, you don't look.
I weigh 145 now, but after that Depo-Provera shot, within 2 weeks, and my mother witnessed it, I was 250.
Wow.
So that was and no matter
you weighed 250. Okay.
Yeah. But then, trying to lose that weight, I'm going to say I was in my late 40s or so. I could never no matter what I did, I could not lose the weight. Since I had all the surgery, the weight loss, my breast, my body seems to be going back to where it should be.
Okay. Very interesting. Yeah, that's unusual.
Yes.
And so do you think, maybe it was, you gained the weight, and then that impacted, and I know with me, when weight fluctuates, again, it's sometimes often that's where it changes too, but so then maybe you gained the weight, and then do you think that made them more?
Oh, yeah, because it's the weight up, and they could see 15 pounds gained, trying to lose that weight, then she would gain 20 within a week, and this went on and on and on, and so they knew it was not from food, it was due to that Depo-Provera shot.
Wow.
And I took that Depo-Provera shot not for birth control, but I had severe PMS. Yeah, it worked like a charm, but then after 5 years, I came off of it, and that's when I was losing my eyesight. I had to have a spinal tap, and to this day, my optic nerves are swollen because of that injection.
Wow.
But so I am on medication to keep the weight down, because the thinner I am, the pressure.
So it helps with your
Yes.
vision? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And so when did you feel like, because you were unhappy with your chest size, could you wear clothes? Like, how did you feel in clothes?
You know, back then it was what it was because I knew that wasn't the real me being that heavy. Mm-hmm. You know, so I do eat healthier, like so to speak. Like for like lunch, I might have watermelon.
Okay.
I like beets. Mm-hmm. I like Chobani yogurt.
Those all sound very healthy.
Yeah, so
okay.
I'm not like your typical, you know, like big meal type of person. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. But then, and so in terms of like with your wardrobe, because I know we chatted a little earlier, but so like, did you feel like when you were unhappy with your body, like, you know, would you wear larger clothes to try to hide them?
Well, no, I've actually fit into a larger clothes.
Right.
And then since my breast reduction and lift, I lost maybe 40 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah, so I eat all carbs because protein, like I said, and I watched this documentary about that people think carbs are bad, and they're not. If you look at the Italians in Italy, they're not heavy.
Right.
So it's, but everything in moderation.
Exactly. It's like they probably don't have like the Olive Garden size portions there, you know? I was like, maybe they're a little more.
But you know what I will do if I go out to eat? I'll order an appetizer or a half an order.
Okay, right.
And I always eat on a smaller dish, even at home.
I see. So, and then I know you have a story about what prompted you getting the surgery. So do you want to talk about that? You talked about, you know, and again, you were a victim of abuse.
Yes.
Right? And so, and that was, you were in,
It's
something happened recently about that, right? And
Yes, like with my ex-boyfriend, I just felt after 8 years that I could never be thin enough or worthy of him, and that's what prompted the more of the weight loss. But today, as I sit here, I'm getting happier about myself.
That's great.
And I can't, you know, this breast.
No, you look amazing. I mean, I would they look great, and it's just, isn't it funny how a lot of people with small chests, right, like want larger chests. It's like, and then, you know, I'm sure it's like for you, I'm sure you feel lighter,
right,
and you feel better in clothing.
One thing about me, I did not want a big chest, like
right.
No, I like the bodybuilder, like that kind, but I'm extremely happy I fit into a small petite, and now all the mediums are big on me. It's like I have to get rid of them.
So you got to go shopping.
You know how many times I had to get rid of clothes? It's like,
right.
But I think this is it. I could fit into a medium, some small pants I can.
Okay.
And I feel really good about that.
All right, so talk to me, because I know, so tell me, I mean, this is just really horrifying, right? But so you were abused as a child.
Yes.
And then you said that something happened so recently.
I went to court with the pedophile, and
so you took him to court?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
It took 3 years for the whole thing. Of course, I could have gotten more money, but, you know, I just wanted it to end. It was very taxing, especially sitting next to him.
I'm sure that's horrible.
Very horrible.
But so that's good. So you basically like sued him over the abuse for the damages.
Yes, and I'm glad I did, because I want to leave my mark and help other women who are silent and who don't have anybody. Maybe their mother doesn't believe them. My mother did believe me.
Well, that's good at least.
Yes.
But that's horrible. And then, so then you mentioned.
I knew once I got that money, it wasn't anything to think about. I want a breast reduction and a lift, and that's what there was no doubt in my mind this is what I was going to do. And I have thought about like a tummy tuck, but you know, hearing like, I know it's very painful, but you know what, I know I can handle it. Mm-hmm. If I can clean the next day after coming out of that type of surgery.
Right.
And I was on no pain pills, maybe one, that was it.
That's amazing. Yeah, and I think that's a painful surgery, isn't it?
You know,
all these people are telling me surgery doesn't hurt. It's crazy.
I'm not going to say it tickled, but it is something. If you really want something, no matter what it is, you're going to do it, whether it hurts or not hurt.
Okay. Right. And I like that it was a kind of a full circle where the person, so somehow after the abuse, you were given something that then you were able to take to basically kind of, relieve yourself of part of the
Reclaiming
trauma.
my life.
Yeah, you reclaimed your body,
Yes,
right?
yes.
With the damages from the settlement.
Yes, and a lot of people
Yes.
don't understand. It's easy for people to judge, well, you should move forward. When people say that, they don't, it depends on the person, it depends on the trauma, it depends how long. And, I still get frightened because he also stalked me. So if somebody
That's terrifying.
comes behind me and taps on me,
That's the trauma.
Yes.
The triggers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's
so
terrible.
But and when people say, well, why do that? Well, why do you go to the gym? Why do you put makeup on?
Right, when people judge about why you got
Yeah.
the surgery, right? And it's all about feeling good, just on the outside. Also,
Why do you
sometimes
get
can help
then
the
don't get-
confidence, right?
Right. Then
Yes.
don't get your nails done.
Don't put makeup on, right?
Don't put makeup on.
Right.
Wear sweatpants and let your hair gray.
Right.
If
Right.
you're going to speak the truth, let's speak the truth.
Right, yeah. People can be judgy, but
Right.
it's like, it's not for them, right? This
Right.
is your journey.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I don't regret it one bit.
Right, that's
Every
great.
time I look, it's like
You look like you're so happy.
I
I know, and
am.
you even were messaging about how happy you are. I love it.
I am, and Anthony Berlet is like really. I can't say enough things. Patient, and he knows his stuff.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Okay, so tell me, how did you did about your doctor research that you
Yes.
did? Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I researched one.
Okay.
And then I got a lot of referrals. Actually, where I go get my hair done, he also did the girl there that I'm friends with.
Dr. Berlet did.
Yes,
Okay.
he did.
Really
Yes.
interesting.
And
Okay.
she's the one too, among 5 other friends that gave me his name.
That's it. So it's like somehow you're like different people. Oh, you have to see Dr. Berlet, right?
Yes.
And so, okay, interesting. And so, you had gone. So, how many in person? You went to one, and did you have an appointment and everything?
Well,
or-
no, I
okay.
did it like on the
Oh,
phone.
online. Okay, a phone
And
consult. Okay.
and then I started asking,
Right.
and these people are like.
Right.
that referred-
They
yeah.
basically is word of mouth, and
Oh,
you
yeah.
get like 5 referrals. You're like, all right, this
Yes.
guy has got to be good.
Yes,
Okay.
and there is not one thing that I could say. I love the hospital, the nurse. I mean everything.
Awesome. And so right away, you walked in and you explained what you wanted to do, and he
Yes.
was like right on board.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's great. And were you nervous going in for the surgery?
Maybe a tiny bit, but my girlfriend dropped me off, and I was fine.
Okay. Awesome.
I mean, and people have called me that referred me so they could talk to. And, it's funny because they're asking me, like, does it hurt, blah, 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 and this, that, and the other thing. And it seems to me, well, then you really don't want the surgery. If you
Right.
have to ask that many questions, then you're really not sure. I knew, whatever, I'm getting this done.
Right. And so what was that like when you first woke up from the surgery?
The next day, I got up and I started cleaning. And the nurse called me.
I think you're not supposed to be, right?
She goes, cleaning? Washing clothes? You do realize this is major surgery. I says, well, you told me that we want to prevent blood clots. She says, I didn't mean to clean your entire house. But, well, now I'm healing faster.
Right. And so what's it like? So when you leave, so you have bandages on?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so how long do you have the bandages on before you can actually see the results?
Well, I did, yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't even remember.
Okay.
But I did see
You could see the outline of the smaller.
yeah, well,
okay.
that, yes,
Okay.
yes.
And so what was it like? Do you remember the moment when you took the bandage off and saw the new breasts for the first time?
It was like night and day. Oh,
Really?
Yes.
And so were they still bruised at that point though? Or, I'm
Yes,
sure.
but I listened to what they said. You put cream and everything that, and I healed perfectly.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And so and so when you say you were happy and
Yes.
and I mean, it's a shame that they're in clothing because you can't really show them, right?
Unless I go to Sandy Hook now.
Right. So, I mean, are you at a point where like now you actually, and like how you felt before, were you ashamed to not have to be naked or,
Yes,
Yeah,
I really
okay.
would. I did not want to look in the mirror, but now it's like, oh my God, like I said this piece to my daughter. I just want my breasts done so I could wear an open, a blazer.
Yes.
With nothing under.
Right.
I like Kim Kardashian.
Right? Oh, okay. So you like that look.
I do.
Yeah, so you can show them off, right?
Yeah. I'm just like, it's something you cannot describe.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure. And so it's almost a shame when you have to put your clothes on now,
I
right?
know.
But I mean, this dress looks amazing.
Thank you.
It looks very, very flattering.
Thank you.
But it's not. You still have
Oh yeah.
But most people would be,
Well, even in my bra, when you're supposed to lift, there's nothing to lift.
Right. Oh, you're just perky. You don't even need a bra, right?
No, I could go without a bra. Believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm 62.
Wow, you look amazing.
Thank you.
Wow. And now
so
you're
do you.
62 and you don't need a bra.
Right.
That's pretty incredible. And did you ever have back pain as a result of, your... Okay.
Yes, and also when I was pregnant with not my first, but my second, I had back pain for years.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. And so have you noticed a difference, an improvement in terms of how you feel with your back now since the surgery?
And,
okay.
I am divorced. I live with my younger daughter and my cat and my mom. It's my mom's house. She lives upstairs. I could carry cases of water in.
So you could never do that before?
No.
Really?
No.
Wow, because it was too much.
Yeah, it was too much. But no, I'm gonna shape up my arms because from losing weight and stuff. But yeah, I'll carry 3 bags in at once. Well, 2. Who wants to go back to the car for a second?
Right.
I'll drag it across.
But that's interesting. That's a whole new thing because you didn't before. You were just limited in terms of
yes.
Yeah,
I could not believe how bad they really were.
Wow.
And it was between that or a tummy tuck in December, but he said, let's do the breast. And he says, your stomach is really not that bad. Well, I used to bodybuild.
Wow, really?
Yeah, I find it's a good, it's hard work, but it's good for the mind.
Well, now, I mean, all these days they're really encouraging, how healthy it is to lift weights and everything. They can help with
It's actually better to do that.
Right. Everyone's about muscle now. Yeah.
Than to do cardio.
Right. Yeah.
I used to do cardio an hour, 7, and I did not lose 1 pound.
Right. I think your body kind of adjusts to it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Interesting. And so do you lift weights now again?
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
But I will eventually get back to that. But I enjoy the sport.
Right.
And I enjoy seeing the body changes within.
Right. Okay. Interesting. Now, people your family. So your family knew you were doing it. And obviously, I think you're very open about it. But have you had people just notice the difference? It probably actually.
Well, no, because I have a big mouth, so I blabbered it to everybody. But my mother was very supportive. Yeah, she never said once oh, what are you doing that? No, she was very supportive, and she realized how. They were bad.
Right.
Beyond.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And does your mother also, again, knowing the trauma, she understood, part of that too, right?
Yes.
That was a liberating, part of the surgery.
Yes.
Right?
Oh, yes.
Wow. And so, have you had to buy all new clothes?
Well, yeah,
Some I can't imagine, right?
All my tops, Free People, all those nice clothing.
All the good brands. What a shame.
I know, but
it is nice to shop.
Yes, it is. But I always have I don't have that, but
Right.
It's because I'm a shopaholic.
And is it too much? You can't just alter them, right?
No.
It's
because you know why? I noticed when I do wear sleeveless, it falls. and I hate that
Right.
feeling.
Yeah. Right.
Pulling it up.
Right. And it really is like, so, I mean, you feel like, and I know, right, because like when you have, when the large breasts, like clothing often isn't flattering, like unless you kind of,
Or even the bathing suit for that matter.
Oh, right. I mean, could you wear a bathing suit?
I could, but the size just wasn't right. It was either too tight up here and it was just all off. And like Tony just said, that they were uneven. I didn't even know that.
Right. Wow. So I know, because I was going to say, if he said they were uneven, but they were probably too big. You didn't even know.
No.
Like you couldn't see the end of them. Right. But
No.
okay. So it must. And you also mentioned like the change in weight before and after. Did you weigh yourself just because I don't know if there was also weight loss, but do you know how much weight you lost just actually from the breast reduction?
Not well. Overall, I can tell you. At that time, well, now I'm 145, so I did lose a significant amount.
Okay.
From December to today.
Okay, so this was done in December. So this is about 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
And even with my gastric sleeve, like some people will gain weight. No, I kept losing, and even to this day.
Wow. Okay. But I was just wondering, even just about the physical, the actual weight of the amount of breast tissue.
Probably, I probably it was a lot.
Right. But I mean, and then it just also makes you feel lighter, right? And
I
just,
do. I actually feel lighter.
That's great. And so.
And I would always get that rash under here too.
Oh, really? And you don't have that anymore?
No.
Okay.
No.
And that was just from probably the rubbing and.
Yes.
Okay. Wow. And then, so what is that genetic? Is that so you said you have a mother and a daughter? Is that something, or was it just something maybe related to being heavier or?
Well, it was related to that Depo-Provera shot.
Oh, right. Okay.
That's why they got so bad.
But the Depo-Provera that was a result of weight gain, right?
Yes.
So, okay.
Yes. Yeah, it was hard. Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't just make your breasts grow, right? I don't know. I don't know, this shot and then, yeah, okay. All right, very interesting. All right, so tell me about what your bras looked like before, and then what they look like now. Do you buy sexy bras now?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
And did you before?
I tried to, but I just, you know what it was? They were too heavy, and I couldn't take the bra
Yeah, it was more almost like a harness.
Exactly.
Right?
That's it. That's a perfect word for that. Yes.
I mean, when they're large, they're just naturally, it's hard to find one that makes you feel nice when it's just
and then when I was
sizes.
in the bigger size, by the end of the day, they'd be falling out of I'd have to take my bra off.
Right. Right, and so now, I mean, again, so it feels lighter, and then you can wear sexier, you know, underwear, and and what about? And so this is your first summer with the new breasts.
Yes.
And so, have you been to the beach yet?
No, not yet.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's been 100. It's about you. You should go.
I know. I should run there.
Right. Amazing. And so, have you bought new swimsuits?
I did.
Okay. But you haven't shown them off yet?
Well, no, not yet.
Okay.
But I am into a size 10.
Okay, wow.
And I was
what was
a 14.
it before? A 14. So that's 4 sizes,
yes.
Right? Okay. Amazing. And so what about, is it a bikini or a one piece? Okay.
It's a one piece.
Okay.
But to tell you the truth, I probably could get a 2-piece, like a high bathing suit pant. And
right.
I probably could.
Right. I know you said you're still not thrilled with your stomach. So I mean, but still a one piece. And there are plenty of sexy one pieces.
Yes.
Right.
Oh yeah, there is. Yes.
Yeah. Some people, I think Tony might even actually sometimes think they're sexier than the 2 pieces. So so that's great.
Yes.
And you mentioned wanting to go. Do you think you would ever go to a nude beach? I'm that proud of them. No, I'm just kidding.
I never say never to anything.
Right, I'm not encouraging it. Yeah. I'm just curious if you're that proud.
Because you never know.
Right, yes. And you mentioned that did you actually send pictures to your daughter of you just show them off?
I just lift up my shirt no matter where I go.
like,
I'm so like,
right,
oh, here, you want
right.
to
And with the 5 referrals, have they seen you since they had sent you? And yeah. And so the 5 people that referred you, they all specifically, or they like had other things, but or specifically were recommended?
No,
this?
yeah.
Okay. Wow.
They had breast. One
reductions.
had with Anthony, and she told me about him right from the beginning.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Very interesting. All right. Let me just. And so, in terms of, I know you have, a situation which we talked about
Yes.
with the boyfriend.
Yes.
And so, do you think maybe now, like, it's a fresh start, and
I do think
like,
it's a fresh start. I just have to say, we don't. I wear my heart on my sleeve,
and I can tell that about you.
Yeah, I've always been like that. I'm an easygoing person. When I love with everything. And I had to end things. And yeah, do I regret it sometimes? Yes, and no, because I don't have that anxiety feel. I always had that, like he was doing something wrong. It would things just didn't sit right with me.
Okay.
And so I've been single for like a year and a half.
Okay.
And I could say this about me, that I don't want to get married again. I've been married twice. And actually my ex-husband, my older daughter's father, wanted to go back with me because he got divorced and wanted me to move to Florida. But no, I need to get to know me.
Of course.
And I am worthy of somebody else's what I put out there, I get back.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then, so just to revisit a little bit, like the trauma, do you think, so having this surgery, how do you think you have, I don't know what you were experiencing related to that trauma, but do you think like whatever those signs were have improved since you had this surgery? Do you have less?
Yes,
Okay.
I do feel that way,
Okay,
yes.
really?
Because there were times I would be inconsolable and just sobbing. I mean, it was like in every other day. But
So
no,
were there so maybe there were things that just triggered you
Yes.
related to that trauma
Yes,
that happened
yes.
as a child,
Yes.
right? Okay. And so do you feel like since you were able to take this, move and take control of your body and make the change you wanted to,
Yes.
that you have less of that?
Yes.
But so it sounds like, the surgery was almost like symbolic in a way of kind of free, just kind of maybe freeing you of some of that childhood trauma.
Yes.
Because you were kind of maybe cutting that away, and then
Yes.
okay.
Yes,
So that's,
exactly.
that's actually really beautiful, right?
Yes,
That-
and I used to, I've had my eyebrows microbladed like 10 times because
Wow, okay.
I pick, because again, it's with but when I was with my ex, it was just everyday occurrence. Now I hardly
see.
even do it.
Oh, that's good.
The
So
exact-
like the trichotillomania, is that?
Yes.
Okay, you had some of that, all right.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
It was bad. Like
Okay.
I was in the
So all of
hospital
this
with a
is-
staph
yeah.
infection from it.
Oh, wow.
And did it stop me?
Right.
No. But now I don't have that anxiety.
Right, because a lot of that is probably it's triggered, and then that was kind of basically like a symptom of what you were experiencing
Yes.
with the trauma, and so
Yes.
that was a way of for you.
Yes.
Okay.
So I have
And so-
grown because he used to take, and he did a lot of nice things for me, but I drive at night now where I wasn't doing that.
Really, because you were just still there was something related to that
Yes.
that triggered you. Okay.
So I do my babysitting, I do hospice, and I will cut people's hair for nothing, the elderly, to give
Wow.
back.
That's so amazing of you, and doing hospice. Again, that's exhausting. It's really emotionally difficult.
But
that,
I find
yeah.
that I can make them laugh, and I give them that.
That's what and then when you're at that point, to have someone make you smile and have some little moment of joy.
Yes.
That is so powerful.
Yes,
you know?
and it's not upsetting to me because I get to be with them and make them laugh and let them talk about the past, and it's really nice that you can do that for somebody.
Wow, it seems like you have such a good heart. And I feel like, I hope this gives you like a whole, like basically, this new life, right? And so hopefully, this will clear a path for you
Yes.
to just find happiness. And even if you don't want to get married, just generally
Yes, well,
have self-love, right?
I mean, I
And-
have lived with my 2 ex-husbands. I've lived with 2 ex-boyfriends. But I'm at the point in my life now, it could change, that I don't want to get married and I don't want to live with anybody. I'm okay. I'm never bored, and I don't need to be with somebody.
No, it seems like you have a lot. Like you have love in all these other places. It's not like you necessarily need that, right?
No. And I mean, I have my daughters, I have my mom, my cat, and when I go to work and babysit, I enjoy getting them McDonald's. I spoil them, and that's just me. Like,
Yeah.
I enjoy it.
Okay, so I want to now get into the details of the surgery because I want to understand. I know each one is different, so I want to hear. I mean, because you don't know everything, right?
Oh no, I'm dying to hear what he did.
Okay.
Because I was out like a light.
Right.
But maybe next
Right.
time we could assist
Okay,
the
yeah.
patient.
I don't know. I was like, I feel like all the blood. I don't know. I don't think that's right. But all right, so let's bring in Dr.
Okay,
Berlet because I
yes.
want to hear what he has to say
Okay.
about it. Okay. So Dr. Berlet, welcome.
Thank you.
So we and Gina we were very curious to hear. Well, first, I guess we want to hear about the surgery, but first, tell me about her before. What it looked like, and how you assessed what needed to happen.
Emergency.
Well, she had elongated breasts that had fallen quite low.
Okay.
Makes you look very
Hangy.
well maternal. Maternal. It does fill you up. It makes you look heavier than you are. So it's unusual, unfortunate. I mean, so the breasts are long. They're hanging. They're large,
I know.
and so basically they were uneven.
Oh, really?
And even when you walked with a little bit of a tilt to you.
Really? Did you know this? Or he have noticed all these things? And it was like, she didn't even notice that they were uneven, but I guess like maybe it's just like,
Oh,
well,
yeah. When you look at the
Okay.
pictures, you can see she's
Oh.
even, and her shoulders
Like
are
night
off.
and day.
Yeah, everything is off, and then once again, she's just. In the meantime, it's becoming like a springboard for you. It looks like you lost some weight since you were there.
Yes.
It looks pretty amazing. Yeah.
she looks amazing.
Yeah, she looks great.
Yeah, I mean, and in terms of like, was it kind of a routine? Like, was there anything special that you had to do? Do you remember? Like,
Well, breast reduction, it is custom, obviously, for each person. You have to- you're
did
deciding-
she like have a goal? Like, I want to be this size. Like, do you like what? Did you come in saying I want to like be
No,
this
I just left it up to
particular
him.
cup, or you're just like I just want less? Or?
Well, that's always a question. There's
Okay.
some women who want to come in. They say, "Oh, I want to be like, I want them all off," but they don't.
Okay.
They don't really.
Right.
So
Yeah.
She says she's perky now.
She is
Oh,
pretty.
very
Yes.
perky.
It's nice. It brings them up where they're supposed to be.
Will they fall ever?
They can fall a little bit, but not terribly.
Oh,
As
good.
long as you still have to wear a bra.
I don't know. She likes to go braless sometimes. No.
Getting back to size.
Right.
The classic is women come in, they can be a G, and if you made them a B, they would feel like they had a mastectomy.
Right.
It would be way too much.
Right.
So
Okay.
typically, you're going from a G to a D.
Okay.
And it does depend on how long the pedicle is. I'm like that.
What is a pedicle?
So let's talk about that. So basically, where the nipple is.
Okay.
So the nipple's going to determine how much breast you have to save, because the blood supply to the nipple has to be maintained, at least with most of the techniques that we use. In the past, the older technique was something based on what they called an inferior pedicle. So that meant from the bottom, supplied the blood supply, created the blood supply to the nipple from the bottom, and that technique was flawed in many ways.
Okay.
Because what would happen there is the tissue itself, you'd slide that lower tissue up and then you'd rewrap it. And so the skin itself acted as a sling to hold the breast up.
Okay.
And with that situation, most of the weight is on the direct bottom of the breast. So it does something called bottoming out, where it expands only on the bottom. So as it expands on the bottom, it tends to flatten. And so your nipple's here, and all of a sudden it's here, and your breast is down below it. It gets a little boxy, a little flat.
Okay.
So it has that issue. And on top of that, you're actually turning the breast into a football when you do that a little bit. So you're chasing a point here and a point out here to create a roundness to the breast. You want
Wait,
you
a
want that
football
round.
like this? Okay.
Well, it would be a
Right.
football that way. You know,
Right.
So you're chasing these tails. They're called dog ears,
Uh-huh.
medially and laterally, or that's inside and outside.
Okay.
And what that does is that then it extends that lower or inferior incision quite a bit.
So this is what this is what you do now.
No, it's
No.
not what I do.
Okay. So talk about what is it? So now the technique has improved. So no more footballs.
Dramatically.
Okay.
Dramatically.
So now what do you do?
So the technique that has evolved, it's been around for about 20 years, is a supromedial pedicle.
Okay.
So we're all taught that the inferior pedicle was this gold standard for 50, 60 years.
Okay.
This medial pedicle started gaining traction. It's a little more difficult because you have to customize. You can't just take a stencil and stick it on the breast and trace it out. You have to measure everything, kind of find out where the new nipple position is going to be, which is not always so simple.
Okay.
And then the idea is the blood supply is coming from the inside this way. So the beauty of that is when the breast rotates up, this rotates in. So it naturally, the breast's tissue itself creates the shape of the breast.
Okay.
So you don't have that bottoming out issue.
I see.
More importantly, it naturally cones the breast, which gives you projection, gives you roundness to the breast. It pulls it in from the side where you have, this tends to be a trouble area.
Okay.
So when you did the older technique, you were chasing this tail out and it had this little
Okay.
axillary roll forever.
Okay.
So by doing that, you get that natural rotation.
Okay. And so and like the nipple, so basically like you're cutting out, like I'm just like thinking, okay, if you have a little, not like they were that long, but you know, like if you have a longer breast, and so then you're making it smaller. So then like you're removing and bringing this.
So the idea, the older technique, you took a horseshoe out this way. With this technique, you take a horseshoe out that way. So that's
Okay.
what you're taking the breast tissue out that way. But that
Okay.
allows you to bring this all in.
Okay.
Takes care of that axillary roll, natural
Right.
roundness to the breast,
Okay.
projection, all good things.
Okay. And then did you have like talk to them like about in terms of like your nipple? I mean, if you're comfortable talking about this, but like, did you say I want to make them like anything? And did you want to
Yeah.
change anything? It was mainly just like the size of the breast.
I actually
Okay.
left everything up to him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Really?
So-
Yeah,
So you weren't like, okay, I want a reduction. You didn't like specify if
Whatever
you still
he
wanted.
thought.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of trust.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, it's not to be obnoxious, but it is wise to trust me because
And that I do.
Right.
so the idea there is when you could have areolas that are literally this big,
Right.
like this big, and you got a breast that's down there. So that's not an ideal shape anywhere. If you make a smaller breast, it becomes your entire breast is a nipple
Right.
or areola.
Right.
So you're going to reduce that down
Okay.
anywhere from 35 millimeters to 45 millimeters.
I see.
So you sort of adjust it accordingly.
Did you weigh
to that.
them?
Right. You were wondering how much weight she just
Yeah.
lost from the tissue. Like,
We
Yeah.
did weigh them. I don't know what they were, but typically it's about 1 pound to 1.5 pounds per breast.
Oh.
okay.
So you're talking
Oh.
about 3 pounds overall. That's not hanging on your neck.
Right.
It makes a difference.
Yeah.
You can see just the way she stands up straighter and her
Oh
posture's
my
better.
goodness, that must have been a sight before.
No, when you're doing the
Right.
surgery, it can be a little for the layman. It's pretty graphic because
Okay.
there's a lot of it's just an open, exploded breast. So you're just sort of like taking all this tissue out and you're trying to find the right planes, and that's why it's so important to have someone who has an understanding of spatial
Right.
spaces, because you're taking this out and you're trying to. It's like doing origami almost, but you're setting everything up.
Wow.
You're
Yeah.
creating a puzzle, and you just
Okay.
got to make the puzzle pieces fall together. And so you have to visualize it, figure out how it's going to happen, and then ultimately you end up with this beautiful breast. But you have to understand how you get there.
Okay. And then as far as like, so you talked about like having, this large kind of areola. So does that happen? So when someone has like, when just like large breasts, that it grows with them? Like what, like, because you don't, like if you have smaller breasts, you don't end up, right? Is that just part of it? Or I don't know.
That would be if I had that answer. No, it's like one of those.
But it's typically, when you do these reductions, it tends to be that they also have these large
Yeah.
Okay.
Most-
Like you're
most-
usually
most
reducing the
women-
size of that, right?
Almost always.
Yes. Okay.
Almost always.
Okay.
So yeah, there's very few people that have really naturally tiny areola,
I see.
and especially when you have a large breast, it's usually
It just
proportionally
grows
large,
with it,
and
right.
Sometimes it's disproportionately large.
Right. Okay. And so then where like do you notice this any scars or anything, or do you have any? Yeah.
Well,
I
the
mean,
scars are pretty well hidden. What's happened?
Because is
over
it
the
under?
years-
Yeah.
Well, the older technique, the big problem was that inframemory scar, you were chasing it all the way up here where it could be visible, and all the way out here where it could be visible.
Right.
And if it's thickened, it tend to thicken here and tend to thicken there.
Okay, but now.
So
yeah.
now it's around the nipple because you're reducing the nipple, right? And
Right.
there is an extension down. Everybody worries about that extension down, but it really fades almost
yeah,
away.
I mean, really.
You almost
Wow,
don't see it at all.
okay.
And if you can reduce the inframemory fold scar,
okay.
that prevents the thickening from here to here.
Right.
On top of that, we have, technology has helped us there. We have something called a plasma blade, where when you're cutting the tissue, we used to use an old cautery, and the cautery would have a certain depth of injury, and that depth of injury, was a burn that would extend it out. And when you brought the tissue together, it would make you have a worse scar because you have more inflammation from the trauma. And then we also have sutures that are unidirectional, and so we only need to put in one layer, so there's less reactivity and less scarring from that. And then there's less tension on the incisions, so everything all together. I mean, you're not depending on the skin to create the shape of the breast anymore.
Okay.
So it creates that beautiful round breast, and it heals well. Tends to heal really well.
Okay.
Yeah, I was up and about the next day.
I know she said she was cleaning the house and they got mad at her.
That tends to be the initial response.
Right.
And I've come to the point where I don't use drains.
That's what I love too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't
Okay.
use drains.
So what does that mean? Because what happens when someone uses drains? Like
Well,
what?
then you have a tube sticking out of you for a week.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Collecting anything fluid.
And so why don't you use those anymore?
I don't feel like I need it. Occasionally I will collect some fluid, and I can just aspirate that in the office, and it saves
Okay.
them. It is very uncomfortable every time you turn and you pull on those things. It's
Right.
uncomfortable, and it's a real annoyance.
Now, do you do that, the tubes with the tummy tuck?
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Okay. 'Cause
Yeah.
There are descriptions say you don't have to, and they tack it down, but I don't think it can get your scars low.
Yeah,
as you
no,
want to.
yeah.
For me, it's all about getting that scar super low, so you can wear a bikini.
Right.
Oh, yes.
Interesting. And how long was the surgery?
It's about 2 hours,
Okay.
maybe slightly less. Yeah, there's a time to put this patient to sleep and time to wake them up.
Right.
That's sometimes included in it, but
Okay.
the actual surgical time anywhere from an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Okay. And in terms of, she didn't seem to remember, I don't know, maybe she was like, oh, I had good pain meds or something. But so in terms of like, on a scale, like, is this one of the more painful surgeries? Like
Actually,
where?
it's one of the less painful surgeries.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
There's no muscle involved, so.
I just keep on, everyone keeps telling me these surgeries don't hurt. And I'm like, how is this possible? Like,
I mean,
Yeah.
It's an annoying
Yeah.
thing, but
Right,
it's not debilitating at all.
no, I took one
That's
pain
what it
pill,
was.
that was it. I didn't
Yeah.
need anything.
Wow.
No, it's really not debilitating.
Okay.
A tummy tuck, on the other hand,
right, yeah, that's
that-
one of the
that's a lot
biggies,
more.
right?
Yeah.
I've
Okay.
had an ectopic pregnancy, so it must be similar to that.
probably a C-section.
Oh, well, that's nothing.
ectopic.
I'll
C-section,
do it tonight.
cutting or separating muscle, and it can be uncomfortable.
Ah,
All right.
oh, well.
Okay. All right. Well, I think you did great work. Look at her.
It's more than just what we did there. It's just the whole.
I mean,
gestalt,
she's glowing
standing
and
up
so
straighter,
happy.
and
Yes.
obviously
Yes.
she's happy, but she's standing up straighter. She's, I suppose, a springboard to lose some weight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
Well, no, and I don't know if you know. Did you know that she had some trauma? Like, and this I think also actually helped heal her of that. Did you know about this? She was abused. Like, she was open about this, but yeah. And then did you know that
Can we talk
actually?
about that?
I don't remember.
I don't think we
Yeah,
can.
like you
usually
talk.
do.
Yes.
I mean, you're obviously very open.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, but it's really a beautiful thing because she actually, took the abuser to court and had, got actually a settlement and used that money for the surgery. And so it was sort of a healing, a way to heal herself and take control of her body.
Yeah, reinvest in herself.
And I really want a tummy tuck. That's the next thing. I mean,
Yeah, we'll find a way to get
Yes,
this done.
but no, and she also mentioned that she has less trauma, like whatever, side effects, or like when she would have, be triggered.
When I got this breast surgery, I had broken up with my ex-boyfriend, narcissist, after 8 years. So I really, coming here tonight, I feel beyond better.
It's awesome. That's so great.
It's always great to start a new chapter.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah,
It's
like this is
reinventing
a new
myself.
chapter. Yes.
And when
right,
people
yes.
get on me about plastic surgery, why do you get your hair color? Why do you get your
Right.
nails done? Why do you exercise? It's all the same thing.
Right. I mean, it's a form of self-care.
Yes.
Right. I mean, of
And
course,
expression,
and expression
Gets it
too.
out there.
Right. This is how I want to appear. Yes.
No.
Yeah.
And my mother was very supportive. Like some mothers would be like, "Oh, what are you doing? What are you wasting your money on that for?"
Right.
And no, when I say I want to do, well, let's put it this way: it was between this breast surgery or the Love Cartier.
The what?
The Love Cartier
No,
bracelet.
the
Oh.
And my younger daughter says, I
Cartier.
was shocked, Mom, when you didn't buy it, because that's all you kept saying. I don't care if it's $15,000, I'm buying it. And so I says, I had to think a minute. I wanted a car, and I wanted my breasts done. But someday I will get that
Right.
bracelet.
Yes.
I'm a
I hope
driven
you
person.
do. I hope you do.
Positive thoughts.
Yes.
Awesome.
I agree.
All right.
So great to see you.
All right,
Yes, you
thank
too.
you. So at the end of this episode, I had to match Gina with my pink hair.
I love it.
And I just want to say thank you so much for coming.
Oh, you're
It was
welcome.
really an inspiring story, and my heart goes out to you for all you've been through with the trauma.
Thank you.
And I really hope this helps you heal.
Oh,
and,
yes.
really, embark on a new life.
Oh,
really,
I
with the new
intend to.
you.
Yes.
And you have such positive energy.
Thank
And
you.
you're doing so many amazing things, and I think that you are just a wonderful person.
And
So-
I think you are too.
So thank you for coming, and cheers to you, and cheers to Dr. Berlet.
Yes, cheers to you and Dr.
Cheers.
Berlet.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of Once Upon a Surgery with Gina. It was really a deep, story. There was a lot there. We unpacked a lot. I hope you appreciated everything that, all that Gina was open about. It was quite an inspiring story for me personally. And thank you so much for watching Once Upon a Surgery. Don't forget to click subscribe. I'd love to hear your comments and questions. And thank you again. See you next time.